What is going on, guys? The Cricket Weekly podcast. We're back. First one in 2025. Nabil, how we doing? Welcome back to the
Good,
state.
Adam. Good, man. Good. Finally, we're back after a long break. Happy New Year to everyone. We're in the 2025 first episode. We're looking to recap what happened in 2024 and, some positive things moving forward for USA Cricket. And obviously, been a long trip for me in Karachi. I was in Pakistan for almost a month and a half. So you guys haven't, seen us almost in close to a month and a half. So, I was away, as I said, in Karachi. Now I'm back, and Adam and I are back at it again. To bring you guys all the USA cricket updates and all the cricket updates around the world. So, Adam, first of all, man, Happy New Year to you too. How's
Happy
everything
New
going?
Year.
How you doing?
Life is good. Cricket is good. Exciting news. It's all happening. I've been holding it down in the States while you're going, mate. Mostly covering all the Australian stuff. The American cricket's kind of on the quiet right now, but Australia's where it's been at. But let's wrap 24 back. Let's run it back and talk about everything that happened in 24.
Yeah, so 24 was a really, really good year. And, while I was away still, as Adam said, was racking out content on TikTok and other places. So, before we get into it, check him out. USA Cricket, check him out. He's still getting 1 million views a week, guys. So I don't know what USA Cricket's doing. Adam, we're still sitting here. So again, just a shout out before we get things off.
Technically, I did apply. I applied the USA Cricket while you were away, had head coaching role, high performance coaching role, and then they put out a VP of marketing role. So I applied for the VP of marketing role. I don't know if we're going to get anything back from them, but I did send the resume over. I did send the resume over with a little like, hey guys, I don't know who else is cranking out 1 million views a week, but I got you if you need that to happen. So
hell yeah, we're sitting right here, man. Right. So definitely check out Adam's content on TikTok and on Instagram as well. He's recently started posting on Instagram. So
yeah.
Check out the
hits with
content.
the Indian audience, man. This Australia India thing because Indians don't have TikTok, no TikTok. And potentially Americans won't have TikTok anymore if it gets banned. So moving over to the Instagrams because India's over there and they like it over there. So
no, yeah, man. I mean, as from my personal experience being in Pakistan for almost a month and a half, things get, turned off whenever, especially when it comes to social media. They can turn off TikTok, Twitter, it's just a flip of a switch for them. So whenever they want to control some type of narrative from the government, they'll turn it off. So that was the problem there of us trying to do some content and just trying to get some time blocks, where we can have internet as well as know that, hey, we're not going to be blocked off. So a lot of challenges there from those aspects. So it's good that you got into Instagram because, it's a really good platform. So,
for sure.
Yeah. So what are we starting off with, Adam? The first thing that we want to get into that on the recap of 2024.
I think the biggest story of the year, especially for us, was the USA beating Pakistan. Biggest upset in potential sports history, not just cricket history, but it was a big upset, mostly from the fact that, even to me at that point, didn't know. I didn't even know we had a cricket team.
Yeah.
No, this for me has been a 6-month journey. I literally woke up, I believe it was a Tuesday, and it was like my whole feed became USA beats Pakistan. And I'm like, in what world do we have a cricket team? I didn't even know that we had a cricket team. So I then go and watch it, and okay, we win. And so then I go make a video about it, and then here we are now. And I have to come and learn all the stuff about American cricket. But that was, I think, just regardless of whatever happened else, it was a big thing. And USA got host of this 2020 World Cup somehow. And they went and put up a bunch of places, bunch of grounds and made it happen. And cricket came here and it bled into the MLC. But yeah, for that little stretch there in June, we got to watch America take on the world and beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a time where not only you, but Americans here just recognized, hey, what's happening, because they saw that victory over Pakistan and it was all over blasted over social media and on televisions. at bars and everywhere. So the publicity that one win got against Pakistan was just the impact that it did for our cricket here was massive, because it really, I think, put us on the map. That's really the impact that it had, because we had been doing well in the Division 2 and coming up slowly and surely, but obviously beating a big side like Pakistan and then getting into the top eights, which is the next moment again of USA making the top eights, because they punched above their weight, and it happened because of top level performances within her team, and those guys actually playing like a team. So what do you attain some of that success to, Adam, that we saw within that USA team in the World Cup and them reaching that final eight?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is just how I don't think like there's just not a huge gap in quality of cricketers across the world. Like you just need 11 players to play 11 players. Like there's not enough. The gap isn't like what it used to be. Like go back to the 90s and the 2000s, there was a clear gap between how good a certain team was. Like let's say, for example, you're in Bangladesh. Bangladesh comes into the test, the test world. Well, they are far behind where India is. They're far behind Australia. They're far behind England. Like they're far behind. Like, but now when it comes to T20, the format's so short, the room for error is much bigger because you only got 120 balls of options to get out, and the plethora of cricket is so good. The talent that we have here in the USA, because we're not recruiting, but we have people here that live here that are citizens that can play cricket. And you're only going up against 11 people, where back in the day when we didn't have this format, if you just had a random country come in and play test cricket, it would be a whitewash. You'd bowl them out for 50. The other team would go on and score 700. So I think that's just what it is. I think, the team that we have is a bunch of people that played cricket from different countries. They live here in the USA. They're US citizens. We made a cricket team with those players, and that's where it's at. You know what I mean? And it's like they're not to say that they're like, I know, because most of the thing was like they're scrubs and they never played cricket before. They still have 9 to 5 jobs. Yeah, but they're still good cricketers. And the elite cricketers of the professional, I shouldn't say not elite, the professional cricketers from the other nations are just in those positions because they're able to, they live in a country where you can actually get paid a full-time wage or live and be a professional cricketer. Like here, it's a bit of a bigger ask, for someone to give up their ability to go play baseball, go play cricket. They're probably going to filter into baseball. You're going to make more money. But yeah, the players we have are great. The players that we have are really good. Like I was just doing some stats the other day, and like Harmeet Singh is literally the second best spin bowler in the world right now. Like behind Rashid Khan, he took the stat I had was like, it was like 16 wickets for like 114 runs or something. He'd taken over 9 matches, which was like, and then like he was only like 1 wicket and a few averages behind Rashid Khan. And I'm like, yeah, that's our spin bowler. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's up there. He's like just behind Rashid Khan on like form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, even with those numbers, right? Why like we don't get that kind of a publicity, right? As some of the big cricketing nations, because obviously we're not recognized as one, right? I mean, like, so what does it take for USA cricket to be recognized as a major cricketing nation, right? Because now it's obviously looking ahead. Yeah, now it's looking ahead, right? We've done well. We've punched above our weight, but how do we actually now become a major cricketing nation, right? Like, what's the next steps forward for us? And players getting that recognition as well. I think that's what the entire success, would mean. Even us doing well, brought a lot of our players to the limelight. Aaron Jones, Saurabh Netravalkar, Harmeet Singh, Ali Khan. These guys, yeah, they were known cricketers around some of the T20 international circuit. But now obviously those guys have become major stars in world cricket, and them being like part-time cricketers. They're professional players, but they work full-time jobs, and the other half of the time they're putting towards their cricket. So even with those challenges, they've done so well. But again, to be recognized where our players get paid properly to focus on the game, they don't have to work a full-time job, do cricket. Like, when do we get there?
I don't know. I think a lot of the players that are playing in the team are doing well. Like you say, like Andreas Gauss, for example, like he just got signed. He signed with the MLC. He got
Yeah.
signed to the MPL. He went over and played in Nepal. Did very well. Scored 100 for the Avengers over there in Nepal. They didn't
Yeah.
they didn't win too many games, but the games that he played, they were very good. And you know, it's one of those things. I think you see a lot of different guys moving around the world trying to get in different things. You have the Big Bash. I think a couple of guys are over in the Big Bash. You had Melanthra playing in the Nepal Premier League. Obviously, we had the Caribbean League. You had Jones down in the Caribbean League. You had Taylor. He was over with Hamid Singh in the Global Series cricket. And then Hamid Singh got on a plane and flew over to Nepal for the last couple of games. So they're flying around the world to play cricket in different areas. But as for like the national team, like obviously it's a little bit different because they don't have test status. They're not playing test cricket. This summer series is kind of for Australia and everyone to go visit Australia. It's kind of where the big test cricket is, like the Southern Hemisphere. So you have New Zealand's playing, Australia's playing, South Africa's are playing, and everyone comes down to the Southern Hemisphere to come play cricket. And then it's going to move, and everyone's going to go to the Northern Hemisphere and play cricket during the next summer. So, the World Test Championship, that'll be the next kind of thing I think on the list. Once Australia will play Sri Lanka, and then maybe every country has like one more series left before they move on to the World Test Championship. But
yeah, well, South Africa's already booked their spot there, so they're already sitting pretty after that close win against Pakistan, which they stumbled like getting to that 150 in that second innings. I expected them to chase it fairly easily, but obviously I think Pakistan bowlers, did their thing and put up a fight. But
they got a good bowling lineup. I think South Africa they probably have the most solid bowling lineup. Obviously, Bumrah is the best bowler outright, and Rashid Khan will be the best spinner outright. But I would say that potentially right now that South Africa is really doing well with their bowling lineup. I was like always harsh on Jansen during the World Cup, but you also got to consider like bowling test matches, bowling one days, bowling World Cup, bowling T20s can roll completely different. You could be the best test match bowler in the world, go play T20 cricket and get smashed. You also could go and take 3 wickets in and over, in T20 cricket, and then go play test matches and get none for 150. So, and it's just one of those things. But
it requires very different skill sets, and South Africa is obviously, and a lot of their guys are hurt too. I mean, they're playing with like 4 of their top bowlers hurt right now. So a lot of the guys that are playing, Dane Patterson, one of them, these guys are backups, like that are in there playing. So come World Test Championship, they're going to be ready for either, Australia or whoever gets there really. But, Australia's got to win their next test against India, and they're booked as well, mostly.
I'm pretty sure Australia will lock it in. Sharma, Kohli, you could almost drop them from the side and put someone else in. Like the whole test series in Australia just kind of went sideways. Like India just smashed Australia at Perth, was absolute carnage. And that was with no Sharma. We had Rohit and Jaswal at the top, batted superbly. Well, they didn't. They got rolled that first innings. But then they came out the second innings and batted really well. Yeah. Even Kohli got some runs. But I mean, since then, it's just been.
What does that mean? Even Kohli got some runs.
He's toast, bro. He's toast. He's toast.
I think so too.
He's toast.
What about Sharma? Sharma's got 21 runs.
Toast, bro.
Sharma's got 21 runs, and Bumrah has like 23 wickets.
Toast. Like this is
the entire series.
Like the new paradigm that I'm moving into is that the quality of cricketers that are in, let's call it the second 11, can all play. Like if you took the second 11 team from every nation and played them against another nation's regular 11, the second 11 have a chance to win. Like it isn't like they're going to get totally rolled. Like there's an absolute chance that the second 11 Australia team could beat the first 11 India team. There's a chance that the second 11 India team could beat the first 11 Australia team. Like that's how it can work. It's not impossible for that stuff to work like that. And then for India, like they're just getting their things completely wrong against this Australia test. Captaincy's been terrible. But I can't even put it onto Australia either. Like Australia hasn't been great. Okay, like Australia, they made the wrong selection, making McSweeney. McSweeney will probably end up in the side eventually for the next Ashes. I think he's obviously the best middle or topish order batter to come in there at number 3 or 4, but he never opened before. So I don't know why you're asking him to open when he's never opened before. You put Sammy Constas in, and they just said, go and just ramp Bumrah. Go ahead. So he goes ahead and ramps Bumrah, and everyone gets so excited. It was the most exciting Test cricket I've seen. I don't even remember a time that I was
you got to talk
on the
about
edge of my
that guy.
seat. It was Christmas Day, because it was Christmas Day here in America with the time zone change. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, he hit him for 6. Oh my! They're like, what's going on? I'm like, you don't understand. He's like ramping in a test match. Like you don't do that.
Yeah. Plus, it's not just anybody that you're ramping. You're ramping Jasprit Bumrah, who's the best bowler in world cricket right now. Like, hands down. So,
but this is another thing. Is that another thing? Yeah, but it's like this is like I've been doing a lot of analyzing of batting styles and whatever. But it's like the ramp is almost, you could almost ask it is the answer to Bumrah, because when the ball is going to be coming back into you, right? So if the ball goes away, if he bowls 3 away ones, that's fine. You just ramp it over the slips. If it comes back in, you're ready for it to ramp over leg side. Like the only way that he would bowl you out at that point is if he yorked you or hit you with a bouncer and you kind of got caught up with your hands being in the wrong spot. But Constas tried to play a nice defensive block shot and got clean bowled the next inning. So don't do that again. Just ramp him again.
Like, they were really like hit hard, man. Like they didn't know what to do, right? And that led to obviously the famous shoulder push, right? So we got to discuss that, because it has to be one of the best moments of 2024 in my opinion, right? And it's because you don't expect it from a player like Kohli, and it was so obvious. Walking across that half a pitch or whatsoever, like he walked through, and he clearly walked through him. So
absolutely.
It was just like, it wasn't expected, because obviously the kind of a stature of a player that he is, right? And he's been getting roasted ever since, all across social media, all across, every match, every day. Australian viewers, and even before getting into this test match, the last test match, there was things going on with Australian media, with Virat Kohli and him kind of, Indian team kind of not really even allowing the Australian journalists to kind of ask questions in English. So there was a lot of things that were happening even before it led up to that. So first thing, what do you think is going on with Kohli, man? You think the guy's done? Dusted?
Done. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Stick it in the oven, whatever you want to call it. Like, he's done. Yeah. So I don't think he ain't gonna score no more runs. Like the whole he's just fishing outside off stump. He's just throwing the bat out there. Like Starkey's just setting him up. Like it's just no. He's just done. And it's one of those things where there's a reality where he scores 100, and that's what happened in the first test, because Jaswell was scoring 100, and all he did was, his job was to stay at the other end, just like Steve Smith. I had given Steve Smith a huge what's the word I'm looking for? I've been talking trash about Steve Smith for weeks, talking about how Boomer's going to keep getting him out, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes out and scores 100, and it was the most ugly 100 you've ever seen in your life. But it was because he was just the person at the other end hitting the ball around while Travis Head went and scored his 100. Like, that's like that last game that I played, like, I was at one end while someone else scored 150. And at the end of the day, you look at the scorecard and, I had scored 43, because you were just at the other end while someone else was batting really well. That's what can happen in test matches, that you get yourself to the 100 because you're just at the other end knocking the ball around. That's what these guys have to do at some points. And in most of these test matches that we've seen over the past 4 tests, it hasn't been happening. Like, the top order for Australia hasn't fired. When it does happen, like when you saw in that first innings when Constas played, it lifted the pressure off everyone. And then Marnus scored some runs. And then Smith scored some runs. And then Travis Head gets a duck. And then Marsh gets a duck, and he's dropped. So we've got a comment coming through about is it official that Marsh has been dropped? Yes, Marsh has officially been dropped. I just put that out before we went live. Marsh has been dropped. He has been going to be replaced with Bo Webster, who I haven't seen much of really. He's been in the Big Bash for many years, plays for Tasmania, but I can confirm he has scored 900 first-class runs with 30 wickets, which is only one of two people. Sobers has also done it. Someone put out a tweet about it. But yes, he will be in at 6. And then I also did say that it isn't going to be very hard to do better than Mitch Marsh currently, because Marsh is just getting out for ducks every game. So anything will be better, even if you went out there and scored 20.
Yeah, but sometimes it's when you least expect it, right? I think they should have persisted with him. I think he's still their best option at number 6. I mean, they have
can't bat, can't bowl, can't field.
I don't know, man. He's done super well. I think he's just out of form. You just gotta. I don't think you could get rid of it. He's a impact player, I think, and when he pops off, he wins you matches. So he may not come off as often as you would want him to, but it's a tough number to bat, man. 6 in any, test cricket, one-day cricket, you know how tough those runs are, and I've played, open, middle order, and as well, like middle order is very different when it comes to scenarios and actually going out there and putting up a fight if you lose top 3 early. So
I think the new paradigm, again, I'm moving into all these new paradigms, I'm calling them, is that there has to be a scenario where if you're gonna do that, like he'd been in bad form, right? So, and I even made a video before the test match went live on how he would get out. I said he got caught behind, he got caught behind. I said, why doesn't he just go out there and swing? Like, why doesn't he just go out there and pretend it's a 2020 game, go out there and try to score a quick fire 40, just smack it around for a little bit, play a little baseball, just hit some balls. Don't worry about your correct form. Don't worry about blocking. Don't worry about doing whatever. Just go out there and smash it, because he can smash it. You're getting the same balls you would get in T20 cricket. You're the same batter. You got the same bat, the same bowlers. Just go out there and smash it. The field's in. The field's in. Yeah. Smash it like Constance. He smashed it for a few balls, and they put 2 guys back on the fence. And now that opens up something somewhere else. And then he smacked it backwards a point, because there was no one there at point now. And then you're going to smack him over the 6 back down the ground. Like, I think at some point, like, the test cricket will shift in a way where it's like, I know this Baz ball is probably going to take up more. And it's like, you don't have to play traditional cricket in the scheme of winning the game. If you've got 250 runs on the board and you're coming into bat at 6, well, do you want to stay in for another 3 hours, or do you just want to score 50 runs? Just score 50 runs as quick as you can. If you get out, you get out. You just, but like, if you get out hanging your bat outside off stump, caught behind, well, what was the point? Why were you even there? What were we doing? You're better off
I think everybody got that, Jits, man. That dude's been a bunny outside the off stump. I don't know what's going on with him, because it's
oh man.
Sometimes I think there was an example with Tendulkar, right, where his Sydney century, his 151, he put away the cover drive. He was like, dude, I'm not gonna play it because I'm getting out to this thing, right? And I think the major problem is that obviously the players like Sharma's and Virat Kohli's, right? These guys are old school players. The other team has worked them out because they have a lot more data on these guys as well. They have a lot more data. They know where to exactly bowl to these guys, so their plans for players such as Kohli and Sharma, they're more refined, for bowlers of the class of Mitchell Stark and Hazelwood. They know their plans against players like that. But when somebody new comes in, guy like Jaiswal, who's seeing success at the opening slot, right, it's because they haven't worked him out yet. They don't have enough data on the guy to exactly know, hey, this is where we have to pitch the guy, right? So I think that played a part in these guys' forms as well. And these guys haven't put in the work, I think, recently enough to be able to work that out, because they have to be able to know that, hey, the other team is coming up with a plan. Now I have to change my plans and go back and to the drawing board again. And I don't think they've done that, is what I'm seeing kind of.
Yeah, something that I noticed, like I said, I did a bunch of analyses on a lot of the Australian players, especially McSweeney and Smith
Yeah.
and Labuschagne. They all have really weird tendencies. They all put their foot on off stump. They all have their other foot on middle stump, and their shape of their hips are kind of like facing down the wicket, which is not normal.
Yeah.
Your hips want to be, if you want to be facing towards point, all that sort of wicket. But one of the reasons I think with this cover drive scenario is that you watch the footage of Kohli getting out to these shots, and you said Sachin Tendulkar doesn't get out or didn't get out in that innings. When it comes to the cover drive, I always was taught to play the cover drive with a 45-degree bat face. Like the swing is coming in at 45 degrees. You're not playing down the wicket. You don't play with a straight bat. You're not playing the cover drive with a straight bat. We play the cover drive with your bat like pointing like 45 degrees down.
Yeah.
And this is like what you don't see. You don't see them playing the cover drive like that. You see them playing a cover drive with a straight bat, with a high elbow. Like, that's not how I ever played a cover drive. That's not how I was taught to play a cover drive. Like, that's how you play an on drive. Play the on drive, play it mid off, play it down past mid off.
Yeah.
Back down there. Mid off, mid on, you play it with a straight bat. But if you're going to hit a cover drive, you let the toe of your bat should be outside where the shoulder of your bat is. But they don't do that. They're just like fish. They're just fishing outside the off stump with a straight bat, and they're pointing towards cover. But you're not going to catch up to the ball. You're more likely to hit the edge than have the run down the face of the bat. So I'm not sure why they do it like that. And a lot of it's because where they pick the bat up. They pick the bat up now so far to point. Like the bats are picking up. Going to the days where you pick up your bat behind you, like straight behind you, like Tendulkar, Dravid, like Michael Hussey, my favorite. They have the bat straight behind them. I think Root does that too now. Root has his bat is really like behind him rather than like pointing out to the side. And when you have like Labuschagne, Smith, McSweeney, their bats are all out here. They catch fishing. I know Kohli's also out there fishing, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, but he's being set up every time and again. They know he's just kind of prone there, and they test him there, and he's giving it away. So that it's straight up telling me that he hasn't put in the work to be able to kind of, realign the strategy on his end, because I think that's what he needs to do, and he'll score a ton of runs again. And I think even Ravi Shastri, he said, dude, just put away the cover drive and just leave balls outside the off stump. Make them bowl you straight. Make them bowl you right straight to you. If they're bowling you outside the off stump, just leave it. Leave it and you make them ball to you, you're going to score runs. I mean, you're the same player, right? So I think, there's a lot of truth to that, but obviously, everybody's going to be out for his head, him and Sharma especially, because after that first win with Bumrah leading, and then, the team kind of going downhill after, Rohit Sharma took over from the second test. So I think we see, Bumrah back at leadership at some point, maybe after the series or something. But I think these guys probably got to leave Test cricket. I feel like
if I was India, I'll drop Sharma, I'll drop Kohli, I'd have Bumrah back. I think that the team has felt different with Bumrah bowling, Bumrah captaining. We've got some comments in here. Look at Sangakkara's cover drive. That's a beautiful cover drive. Also, Ian Bell's cover drive. Also, a beautiful cover drive right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know in the comments, if Kohli should retire, or is he done? Like, what do you guys think? Because I want to know, from you guys what, Kohli should do. I mean, maybe he should.
Here's the thing. If you had Gill in there, if Gill's batting in there, right? You got Rohit up there. If you put what's the other guy? The other opener. They all have similar names. The new opener.
KL Rahul.
Right, and then you have
Gill, you have Jaiswal.
There you go. Jaiswal, obviously he's one of the batters of the year. You have Rahul, right? And then you have Gill should be in there. I don't know. He wasn't there for the last game though. He wasn't.
They're trying to fit in Rohit Sharma. To get him back at 5 or 6, or get him to open, or right now the team is kind of just carrying the burden of these guys.
I got a hot take right here. Hot take.
Yeah.
The captain should not stand at first slip.
Yeah.
Hot take. Hot take. The captain shouldn't stand at first slip. Standing at first slip as the captain is like an elitist, like I'm too good for the game.
Yeah.
Captain should be at mid off, mid on. Like whatever, wherever you want to stand to talk to the bowler. Captain should be next to the bowler. Unless you're the keeper or something like that, where you obviously have to keep. But if you're going to be somewhere, You don't have to be at slip. It's like you're the lazy position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know, and
Because you already have someone back there that can see. You should be trusting Pant to look from that angle at the field, and he should be
exactly,
with the bowler, and you should be working with the bowler, talking to the bowler every ball from
having the
that end.
plans, the plans only if
That's
you
my hot take.
communicate the plans, that's when bowlers can execute them properly. So a lot of it is communication, and then execution is on the bowler's end, but yeah, let us know if Virat Kohli should retire. We obviously one of the biggest moments was that shoulder push by Virat Kohli, and let us know what you guys think of.
Constas turned it up. Like Constas is a cult hero. Like Constas is an absolute hero. We don't care that he got whatever he got in the second innings.
Oh yeah,
he got 60, but it's the greatest 60 ever scored. Man. It's the greatest 60 ever scored. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's no greatest 60 ever been hit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's a true statement, man, because he just came and overtook, didn't look like a debutant facing, up to these guys and just ramping them, without any type of, respect to the bowlers. It was just crazy, man.
I love it.
Crazy innings. And, definitely, again, another good moment, of 2024 was that constant 60.
Great moment.
Holy shoulder push. So this India-Australia series have had some really memorable moments, man. And I think we got another one if you recently saw the controversial dismissal of Jaiswal, where
so
everybody's like, oh man, the Snicko this, Snicko that. It's common sense, man. He hit it and it deviated. It's out.
So you haven't seen the video that I was talking about, right? I made a clip art video of this. You haven't seen it yet, have you? No. So this is what I just put out a video of stick figures. So I took the audio from the commentary of Starkey running in and then him hitting behind. And I did stick figure drawings at every moment. See, like I stick figure Stark, stick figure the ball bouncing, stick figure him hitting it, stick figure Carey catching it. And then I start doing stick figures of the ball. And I say umpire to director. I need you to check the caught behind for Jaswal. I need you to give me the camera angle from your camera angle, the camera angle of India, and the camera angle of Australia. And then I do stick figures of all the different angles. So like the one from the third umpire, you see a little deviation. The Indian angle, there's no deviation. And then the Australian angle just goes sideways.
Oh, God.
And it's like it's got over 200,000 views on Instagram right now. It's hilarious.
Wow.
But yeah, I think like that wasn't even this is the thing. That out isn't even the biggest controversial part of that test. Like, yes, he was clearly out the deviation. And I saw some people saying like, because Snicko didn't activate, then it can't be given out. But it's like you
That's
can
stupid.
clearly see the deviation. Like,
it's stupid. Common sense, man. It's not common.
The wind came by and blew it. Like, no, it clearly hit his bat. It clearly hit the glove. And I think
there was a lot of biasness there, man. Even Sonny G came and said, "Oh, it's an optical illusion," and I was like, "Dude, what is this guy talking about? An optical illusion?"
I'll tag you my video,
trick?
bro. Yeah, I'll tag you in the video. It's hilarious. I talk about this. It's hilarious. And then I do the Snicko thing. But the worst dismissal or non-dismissal of the whole innings was Jaiswal getting hit on the back pad and going up to the third umpire, and then the third umpire on the Hawkeye. The ball is like crashing into the top of leg stump.
Yeah.
And when you do like the dissection of the ball, like just technically the rule is 50% of the ball needs to be hitting the stump. So 50% of the ball was hitting the stump on the bail and 50% was hitting it on the side. But technically that would only be a quarter because it's on a square. Like, and it's like, no, this ball would have hit the stump like every day of the week. And they made the point that because it hit his back, they say that because it didn't technically hit the stump, it's a projection. But he was so far back in the crease, the ball only had to travel 12 inches. Like it was only a foot to the it wasn't like he was on the front foot and the ball had to travel like 4 feet to make it to the stump. Like there was no deviation there. Like it was going to hit the stump in regards to it would have clipped the bail or clipped the stump, clipped the bail clearly. And then Stark had no wicket there. And that wasn't what was talked about the most, which I was shocked about because that was to me the craziest decision that wasn't given out. Because I was like live, I was like, that's plum, that's going a little plum, but they're like, that's out. And then no, and then goes upstairs, and then it's like, oh, that's out, and then it's like umpire's call. Like, okay. I don't know
Oh
if you know.
man,
Did you
yeah.
see that one? Did you notice that, or I don't
No,
know if you watched
I
watching it
I
live?
didn't. I'm trying to think of it, but the last I saw was this J Swap thing that was popping off, and
Oh, the J Swell thing will
yeah, it
go on
was clear
forever.
out. I mean, I don't know why. I just saw everybody kind of commenting on it, and they're like, "Oh, it wasn't out." Snicko this, Snicko that. Dude, this tech is there for us to use. You know, like if we need it, if it's needed to make a decision, then use it. But if it's common, you see it clearly with your eyes, just use the damn common sense, man. So
Yeah.
and the umpire being in question again, Joel Wilson, is a guy that's always gets questioned and people usually are like, oh man, I'm going to review his decisions because has had a track record of being questioned and being wrong. A lot
Really?
of bad calls. Yeah, he survived because of technology so far. I think he probably would have been long booted out of the umpiring ICC elite panel if the tech wasn't there. So
Wow.
um
I did watch something that they've basically banned hotspot now. Hotspot's basically banned because it's like military grade
yeah.
information that they're getting, and it's like, well, all you needed was hotspot. Like, can we get over this military grade stuff? Like, we're not using it for heat seeking missiles. We're using it for seeing it hitting the ball. For goodness sakes.
Oh
Because
man.
those were the days when hotspot came out, man. That was revolutionary.
Oh, big time.
It was the best. It was you couldn't deny it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because for this test, they even went to the one where someone got out, one of the lower
Yeah.
order Indian guys, and they zoom in on the bat, and you can see it make a cherry
Yep.
on the edge. And I'm like, I guess that's the new hotspot of the day, the high tech 4K resolution cameras or whatever. But yeah, technology is a secondary thing. What third umpire feels is that's what's important. Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't know if you saw what the Australian thing. They came up with another tool, Foxray. I don't know if you saw that.
oh yeah, they got the
That was
Fox Ray, they
showing.
got the
Yeah.
Fox Tracker, they got the Fox everything now. Every day
Yeah.
they were basically bringing out
Yeah.
a new piece of technology.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
the Fox Ray, the
I
Fox
just felt
Tracker.
like they were trying to highlight Boomer's action over and over again with that Fox Ray. If you notice, they kept showing
Yeah,
it over and over, and
yeah,
it's pretty clear at the release point. There's a big, obviously, hyperflex in the back, right? So
yeah.
I don't know, what the whole thing was there, but I felt like they were just trying to, subliminally like highlight that, like, oh man,
Oh
it's just
yeah,
kind of happening,
absolutely.
you
Because
know?
there has to be it's almost a reverse bend of the
Yeah.
elbow. Like it doesn't straighten, the arm is bending at release, which is weird. Like there's
It's
no obviously
yeah,
no
I
rule
mean, and the
there's no rule for
hyperflex
that.
is weird, but I feel like it's just the perception, right? Like, the way they look at it of what the hyperflex is, it's clearly, a bend there, and it's clearly an advantage, which is a big advantage, right? So, how do we approach those situations, right? Because in the past we've called bowlers on that kind of an action, and again, just depending on perception and where you land on which side, but guys has like a crazy control over his seam, right? And the way he bowls and all of that is great. But I think it is the added advantage of that hyperflex, which, I don't know if it's good for the game or if it's fair for everybody. So that's where again the questions arise, right? That
Well,
if it's
what they're saying
legal.
is, yeah, what they're saying on there is that technically it's his wrist snap. It isn't actually his elbow; it's his wrist snap. So they when they go through that motion, they were showing, for example, like his approach is like so much slower compared to everyone else's approach, but it's his wrist release is like 20 times, like 20 clicks faster than everyone else's release.
Yeah.
So that catches up to their speed. So like what they were saying is that, like, let's say Cummins runs in faster, which
Yeah.
means that his ball will release faster because he's physically running faster. So his arm's actually moving faster.
Yeah.
And then Boomer's arm is moving slower, but Boomer's wrist moves like 20 clicks
Snap.
faster than it
Yeah.
snaps faster than Pat Cummins's wrist, meaning that when the ball is released, they come out at the same speed because like physics matches up. And that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
that's why someone like Brett Lee bowls the way that he bowls, was because he had his full arm lockout at full speed with the snappy wrist.
Yeah.
So that's the only way you can get up to those speeds, is have the
Yeah, but
wrist
for a
snap.
guy like Boomerang, just literally a hop, skip, and a jump, and
Oh
just
yeah.
just a snap, right? So I think the snap of that wrist, it gets again the advantage from the hyperflex, right? But
Oh, for
again,
sure.
it's the question of again, like where do you land on that side? But again, one of the best bowlers in world cricket today. But again, there's a debate always there, and I think the Aussies, and Fox have always been showing that Fox Ray and the speeds and like how they were comparing Boomerang and Stark and
Cummins, yeah.
Cummins. So you can see the effort that actually goes into some of these guys. So I don't know, like there's a lot to dig there. I feel like
Yeah, I think he's safe. He's safe. Like I spoke to my old man. My old man's a coach and does
yeah,
stuff like that. And he describing, exactly how it all works and what position your arm has to be in for it to be an illegal or legal ball. And like I said, that Fox tracker shows clearly that his arm is completely straight until the last second, which is reverse. Like to be illegal, it has to be bent and then straight. Like so,
yeah.
and they'd have to
His
like
is
literally
bending the opposite way. That's the
They'd have
hyperflex.
to they'd have to rewrite the rule
Yeah.
on that. And then or you would just basically try to teach kids how to do that. Try to teach them how to, like, instead of locking your arm out straight, how to push elbow through first, or work on more of a snap in your wrist, and not work on just running down so fast. Like, because you can throw the ball down there at 135, 140 if he really pushes and puts in the effort
Yeah.
off like 12 paces.
Yeah. Well, Shoaib Akhtar also had hyperextension in his arm, and he was called for. He was tested. He had to remodel his action, and he had to come back. So it was there in that time too. And if even Murley, I felt like had a hyperextension in his elbow. So a lot of those guys obviously had their own things being called on their action during their career. But we haven't really seen anything with Bumrah and no type of testing whatsoever. Obviously, BCCI is powerful, right? So we all know that. We all know that.
They're big.
So
They're big.
yeah, they're big. So that's yeah, that's something there. What's the next thing we're getting into, Adam? We got rise of Nepal
What's
cricket, man. Let's discuss that a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's get a poll here. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, for me, it was fantastic. Having Nepal come out to the USA and seeing them like just pack out, but be the majority crowd at Texas Grand Prairie, and then to have them launch their own Premier League. I was apprehensive when I first heard about it. I'm like, oh, in a Nepal Premier League, it doesn't is it going to be big, bro? They became like the fifth biggest league in the world. Like they crushed it. The fans incredible. The play was incredible. Like it was a great tournament. I followed it. I tried to follow every game.
Yeah.
They were doing double day games, back to back games, hard to keep track of everything, but it was great. Like it was fantastic. I was very happy with it. And I mean, I think one of the big things is just the crowd. The crowd makes it the atmosphere, and it was a fantastic tournament.
Yeah.
And I think
cricket's gonna thrive big time there, man, just
oh
because of the
yeah,
support. And they have role models already to look up to, their own countrymen that are their role model they can look up to. So 10-15 years they're going to be churning out players as long as they can continue to build the infrastructure, build coaching academies, and get kids involved in cricket. I think it's
not even
sky's the
that.
limit for
Quicker
Nepal,
than
man.
that, man. Quicker than that. They are a force, and I think, like
Yeah, I
I
think so
mentioned
too.
this big through the World Cup, they literally missed out on the Super 8 spot by an inch. A backhand
Yeah.
fluke from De Kock cost them the thing. South Africa should have been beaten. They will be a force. I think they're going to do well in the next World Cup for sure. Like dark horse, like Afghanistan, USA, Afghanistan, USA, Nepal are like the three dark horses in this race, and like they will knock out a big nation. Like that will happen. Like South Africa, is I'm gonna put them at like the list, like New Zealand, South Africa, Bangladesh, Pakistan, like those guys have, like, are in, even Australia. You can even put Australia in there as like a possibility to get an upset. Like Afghanistan beat Australia, like that's a real legitimate thing. Like it can happen in T20 specifically. Like anything can happen, and Nepal I think have some great players coming out of there. Dipinri Singh Irie, great player. And it's just like there's a lot of all the guys that were there. Yeah, they obviously got a lot of experience playing with some of the bigger names in cricket over there. But yeah, they're going to be back. They're going to be competing with USA over the next couple of years for the ODI World Cup qualifiers and the next T20 World Cup, and then the Olympics obviously is going to be there too. So, yeah,
Yeah, I feel
excited
like, I
for all
mean,
that.
Nepal has, a really good right now, obviously, support and hierarchy when it comes to, their international players from the days past, right, are now in management. They're actually launching these leagues. Their ex-captain, is essentially running this entire Nepal league, right? And they got the support. So, and they're united with, a vision of, raising the levels of Nepalese cricket, right? So I think that makes a big difference when, their positioning right now is to obviously, put Nepal cricket on the map and to, make it rise. So everybody's working towards that, which, creates that unity within that whole system. And them being right at the, point where they're about to launch off. I think it's a good kind of base to have. I mean, corruption's there too, like India, Pakistan, other countries. It's filled with corruption. I mean, I
There is
talk to my
corruption.
Nepalese friends and I have a another friend here in Danbury who's from Nepal, and he's always telling me, man, yeah, we love the cricket, the support is great, corruption is there, but right now they're focused on really getting cricket to be big over there, because obviously the politicians also want to make money from this, right? So everybody's interest is aligned right now in Nepal cricket when it comes to government, people that want to run cricket and grow cricket and invest. So from that standpoint, I think things are really working out. It's a good time, and the next 5 to 10 years, Nepal cricket's it's going to be matching, if not bettering, some of these major nations. Is what
Oh
I
yeah,
foresee.
for sure.
You know,
Yeah, no, the team's gonna be great. I think the Nepal League is gonna be great, and they'll obviously keep getting better players to come over to them. It's good that the USA players were able to go over. I would like to see more of them go over. I
yeah,
didn't. Gauss and Hamid Singh are obviously the two most active players that are like in the squad. Over doing stuff. I haven't really kept up with what everyone else is doing specifically around the world. Like I said, Jones was down the Caribbean for a little bit, and so if they got to keep active, and I think Nepal, yeah, they're going to be the league's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to the next league. I think the thing they'll get better at is
yeah,
obviously telecasting. Obviously the MLC is a much better looking um, television wise to look at, but I think the thing that Nepal's doing well is obviously they're making it for the Nepalese people. They're giving the people what they want, whereas here we're trying to like basically beg and steal for Americans to watch the cricket. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to lead
yeah,
into
yeah,
the
no, absolutely,
MLC.
man. It's been great, and plus, I believe Andrew Leonard has been covering, that Nepal cricket. So, shout out to him. He's been, he's loved by all the Nepalese fans
Oh
out
yeah,
there. They've kind of given him like an honorary thing, right? So it's really good
yeah.
to
I mean,
see
even
that these associate nations and or the journalists and everybody's kind of sticking together, and I think that's where like this Nepalese league should have players from USA, and Major League should have more players from associate nations. I think that's what the focus should be for us, because I mean the bigger leagues are obviously being targeted with bigger players, but these associate nations can kind of still pull together and kind of help each other out to build their own kind of leagues within this demographic, of sorts.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, because like there was so like all these leagues popped out of nowhere, like the Global Super League,
Yeah,
which is in Guyana, but like
yeah,
you see the crowds are not as big, and it was The stadiums I don't think are as nice. Or I don't know what the Guyana crowd is like, but you want to put you want to put them in places where the people are gonna support, because like you got to get the money back somehow. I'm not sure how they get all their money back or all the investments go, but I guess more cricket the
Yeah,
merrier.
yeah, no, absolutely, man, absolutely. So, that was some discussion on Nepal cricket. Next, let's talk a little bit, Adam, about
We didn't really catch up on
uh
the MLC highlights of the year.
yeah, we could do that. We could catch
Yeah.
up on MLC, and Major League was a good year in 2024. I think we made some big progress, and big strides when it comes to hosting a good top quality tournament. And I think next year is going to be even better. So, what do you foresee that happening, this year, and obviously recap from last year?
Yeah, so I think big thing, obviously, there's a lot of really good signings. The Freedom, basically Team Australia A, with Ponting coming in as a coach, Smith, Maxwell, there, head. That was just an all-star side, and that really helped Gauss. Like Gauss really, like these US player, got a lot out of that. Playing under that administration and with that team. It's probably helped him go over to Nepal and score hundreds and bat. And it's going to be great for Team USA. And then a lot of international players coming in, like Cummins coming into the San Francisco Unicorns, getting to work with Corey Anderson, who also should be, Australia, an American should be in the American cricket team. He's obviously a good international player also. We had Ali Khan, one of my highlights of the year, taking 3 wickets in the over, just tearing it up down there at Grand Prairie. Yeah, there was a lot of good stars, got a lot of exposure. A lot of USA players getting exposure to the bigger stars, and some people coming up and doing really good performances. So yeah, what's happening in the MLC coming up is that all the teams have basically vowed to build a stadium. So we have the stadium coming up in San Francisco for the Unicorns. Seattle is working on a stadium, and then I guess they're going to have to put one in New York somewhere, or somewhere here on the New England somewhere for the Mumbai, New York, because right now we have the 2 stadiums, but they need more stadiums for all of these things coming up. And plus, the Olympics is coming up, so now they're going to put that stadium in. I think that's already built. The one in San Francisco is already built. I believe it's already built. But yeah, Seattle has going to be building a stadium also. So more stadiums, get more people to the grounds. Technically, it was only in Texas and North Carolina. So I think one of those things is that like the isolation of the cricket is kind of weird, because 50 states, 6 teams, 2 places to play. So everything's happening in Texas. So it would really it'd almost have to be like you have to basically hype up Texas to get people to go to the games.
Oh, it's their big demographic target. We're in the Northeast, but like if you look at like where most of that South Asian community is right now, it's Texas. Like that's
Is it?
it's oh yeah, it's packed, man. Everybody's moving out there. All the Desis and Indian, Pakistanis, and Bangladeshis that I know, they're all going out towards Texas and Dallas, because there's big communities over there of like just South Asian people, huge communities, the biggest. So I think it's a target for them, just because of their entire strategy right now, right? It's to obviously get into the viewership rights and make sure that our viewership is up, so the team is being selected in that manner, and you see all of that. We've discussed this in a lot of our episodes in the
Yeah.
past, right? So that's what's essentially is happening. But I think with these fields popping off, it's going to give us maybe an advantage. New York has a facility now in Albany, a guy, Ashok, who's the volunteer who runs all the under 19, under 23s for USA Cricket. Shout out to him. He's done a lot of volunteer work, and now they've have like a 4-field facility where they hold under 19 tournaments, under 23s, and so it's growing over here too, right? But we don't see within mainstream New York like a big field like we had in the World Cup, right? So we need something like that out here, obviously. But with
New
time to come,
York's still in the Stone Age. They're still playing on the Hessian mats and dirt. Like
Yeah.
when the guys from New York come to Connecticut, they're like, "This is the best thing ever. This is the greatest ground ever." Like, whether it's New Milford or Danbury, these facilities we don't have in New York. Like New York is not doing a lot to like make cricket comfortable, or
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
not. It's yeah. It's not a focus for them, right? But
no,
um,
absolutely not.
but it's going to continue to grow this year. We have good hopes. What's the prediction of 2025 then? Like, what are we expecting this year to happen for USA cricket? Good
Ooh.
things, bad things, some insights and predictions. Let's
Well,
get
I'm not
into that.
sure on what series we have this year. This year's, I guess I have to go look at what series we have. Obviously the MLC is coming, so hopefully we see a lot more USA players in the mix. I would like them to restrict some of the international players. I think the restriction last year was 5 international players aside per game per 11. I think that was, or it could have been even 6. It was 5. Well, I think they were allowed 9 in the squad, and they were allowed to have 5 per game, something like that. I would like to see a few like more USA players in each team.
I think what they should do is they should put in limitations on actual starting 11. Like have an under 19 player start, have an under 23 player start. Like so those types of things, just even one player, being in the 11 from under 19s and one player from under 23 is going to make a big difference. 6 teams, at least 12 players under 19 and under 23 gets to play that top level cricket, right? So like I think those are the things where we have to adjust to be able to match the talent and the skill level of the guys that we have. And they're already like, great, looking at guys like Sai, born and raised here, put up numbers, one of the top young performers from last year. So, he's a bright star for us and for here and for future cricket, right? So and other guys we mentioned that came in, I'm forgetting some names now, but they've done well all around. And another one of my top moments from 2024 is what I forgot to mention was that 90 in that Pakistan match by Aaron Jones, because I think that
Mhm.
was unexpected. Nobody saw that big knock come out of nowhere.
Well, the match before, didn't he score 100 the match before
Oh yeah, no, but I
against
mean in that big
Canada?
game, man, yeah, that 100 was huge, but with the pressure on and that knock that he played, was just unexpected. So put
Yeah.
everybody to kind of like, whoa,
But that's what I'm
this is
saying. Like, just like even the way that you said that, like exactly, like you know, anyone can anyone can win a T20 game. Like it's so close at the level of cricket is like you'd pick any 11 players that are good and they can beat any of 11 players that are good, which is like the cool thing for USA. Like I'd made a video that when I did a cricket baseball comparison or whatever, and I was like, USA can go to number 1, and people are like, oh, you're just like clowning whatever. I'm like, no, really, like you could win. Like it's not like it's a Usain Bolt versus like everyone else. Like that's not what it is. It's like it's a bunch of like once Usain Bolt left 100-meter running, everyone now has a chance, and that's kind of what cricket is now. Is that like with T20 cricket, everyone has a chance. Obviously, you have teams that are better drilled and better this and better that. Like I don't know if you saw Maxwell's catch today, but like Maxwell just took the catch of all time. One of the
Oh yeah, I
greatest
saw that. The one hander and popped it off.
one hander, throw it back up, and it's like the
Yeah.
difference is like there. I want to wish I could have like some sort of physicist do the science behind like what's the difference between growing up learning cricket in Australia and learning cricket up in other countries, because I think one of the things is just drilling and coaching. Like the way that I was brought up, I do things a little different than even like the players here. Then obviously the players that I play with here,
Yeah.
like you and everyone, you all grew up playing cricket.
Yeah.
Whether it was in Pakistan or India or even when you learned it here, but like small subtle things like the run out between Joswell and Coley, right? I
Oh
did a
yeah.
breakdown. I did a breakdown on that, right? And the first thing is like everyone's like it's Coley's fault, and I'm like, well, yes, Coley could have got there if he complied with the yes, but the thing that gets me is that I pointed out Joswell took 4 steps before he called yes. And that would never happen in Australia. Like when you get taught to run between the wickets
Oh
and you
yeah.
get caught to call, and if you like you hear me call, like I'm so loud. I tell everyone at the team, I'm like, guys, I'm really loud. I'm really obnoxious. Like, that's just how I call. And you call, it's an instantaneous thing. You call, yes, and you call really loud right away. You don't hit the ball and then run 4 steps and then call, yes, 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 yes. You don't do that. You hit the ball and you call wait, or you hit the ball, you call no. Like it's like in that instant, it's like an instant thing. Within like 1 second of you hitting the ball, you kind of know what's happening. And yeah, I think it's just like a weird thing. And like Australians are, this is kind of like this kind of going full sideways, but like drilling and the training and like the Australian team, like obviously elite at fielding and things like that. I think that's the only thing that's going to separate people is like all the small little things, like the actual talent and hand-eye coordination is going to be pretty equal across all nations, but like drilling and net time and practice, and those are the things that will make like the small moments like open up cracks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I think when it comes to, it's just work, right? You got to outwork the opposition, right? And if you're able to outwork them, you can match the skill level, and you can, you know, do wonders, right? If you have a good solid team and you back up, these younger guys, and just keep on bringing the young blood, man. And I think we're gonna have a solid team for the T20 2026 World Cup, that we already qualified for. So looking forward to that. And yeah, I think we've had a good episode today. We've discussed mostly everything that we wanted it today. Let us know in the comments, who you think, which player would dominate, 2025. Do some predictions in the comments. Adam, who do you think, man? Who's gonna be, if you had to take a guess, from one player from USA Cricket who you think will
Pop off
own
this year.
2025?
I think I gotta go back to Andreas Gauss. I think well a couple. I have a couple actually. So Andreas Gauss, I think, scores a lot of runs this year. Harmeet Singh, I'm gonna talk more about this. Like, he is so underrated now. They're flying him everywhere. He's playing on every team for 5 minutes. As soon as that tournament's done, they're putting him on a plane and playing for the next tournament in another place. Like, he is phenomenal. Like, he's getting 2 or 3 wickets for like less than 20 runs every T20 he's playing. Like, it's incredible. So I have Gauss, I have Harmeet Singh, and obviously our star bowler Netravolkar obviously will just continue to be his thing. I really want to see people. I really want to see the gaps filled. What I'm looking for this year is someone to fill the gaps. Like, when I go and stack my 11, I just want to be clear on like who is that bowler, the other bowler that can take 3 wickets in an innings. Like, who's the one extra fast bowler I can hang my hat on? Like, is it Ashib Deep? Is he the all rounder that we need? Is it Vance Calfake? Is he the guy that I'm going to hang my hat on, like as the all rounder? Like, who's going to be that person to lock in the 6-7 position? Like, and then with the openers, are we going to go with McLemore? Are we going to go with Melanthra? Like, are we going to go with I just want some people to stand out to make that more like solid, if that makes sense. But I definitely got Gauss, Singh, Netravolkar, my stars of 24, and they'll also be my stars, I believe, of 25 also. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think some of the guys that have done well, obviously in 2024, Sai Mukamala, I think is going to be another one for me. 2025.
Oh yeah,
I expect him to have a huge year. So him is probably a player that I think can own 2025 if just stay focused and keep on playing and doing his thing. So that's one player, definite. The other guys, I think there's going to be rotation. I think Aaron Jones is another, player that I can foresee doing super well. In this coming up year, he's played a lot of, T10 cricket, T20 cricket, have been around good professional players, around squads that have put in the work, right? So I think that makes a big difference when you come back to play for the USA and your game is at a next level. So I think some of these guys, I think are going to be, good. Opening wise, as you said, we're not sure who we're going to go with. Maybe Steven Taylor comes back, or maybe we go with somebody else. Maybe Monang Patel starts to open again. And
I want to see him.
order,
I want to see him at 4.
yeah, having proper middle order and proper, all rounders, and then obviously bowlers. So there's, I think, things for us to work out because we don't have an identified process where we can legitimately say, hey, these are the best 15 players in the country, right? Like we need to have a system where we know,
I could
these
rank
guys
it.
have done well and there's backups on these guys. And if this guy doesn't do well, the other one's going to come in and
Yeah.
kind of, take the spot. So I think we need to take an approach of get maximum out of the guys that we select. And by also putting a little pressure on them to kind of be like, hey, if you don't perform in, let's say, a 10 match or a 5 match kind of a timeline, you're going to be replaced. So, and you keep on
Yeah.
doing that until you hit an actual 11 where, you have all high performers. It's a sales game, right? Like we talk about in sales, you get rid of the bottom 30% performers every like month or so, right? And
Yeah.
the more you do that within 6 months to 12 months, you're going to have a team that's going to be a team of high performers. Once you have that, that's when you kind of hit the nail with everything else. So I think that's the approach to take, keep on finding your high performers um, looking to fill in those spots. I think fast bowlers is where we lack a little bit. Need some good fast bowlers to come in through the setup big time. If we get those, I mean, the guys that played in Karachi, bro, these guys are bowling 85-mile-per-hour clicks in club cricket, playing second grade cricket, and I'm like, dude, like, what are these guys doing here? Come to
Yeah.
US, man. We don't have bowlers like that can just click 85, bowling from 15 paces.
Yeah.
So, that talent is lacking here big time. And you see that in club cricket in Karachi. And, obviously the infrastructure there, it's a big cricketing nation. So, I want to see that here, being able to, have bowlers and pitchers that can, hit that mark 80, 85 consistently and have a bigger pool of players. So yeah, that's my take on the 2025. It was a great episode for the night, Adam. Thanks for joining after a while, man. And
You got it.
yeah, man. And we'll be back again next week. Make sure to check out our membership section, on the Reverse Scoop. It supports youth cricket development and all the work that we do here on the grassroots. So definitely check that out. Check out the Reverse Scoop shop and definitely check out Adam's TikToks. And yeah, until next time, Nabil Khan and Adam Bannon from the Reverse Scoop calling it a night. Have a good night, everyone.